Did you recently pick up your hard-earned eMTB and couldn't wait to shred your local trails, and just when you're about to drop in, some random mountain biker comes along and says, "You're not supposed to ride that here." And then you go home completely disappointed? Well, in today's video, we're gonna go over my top 4 locations to ride your eMTB legally. Number 1, the most well-known of them all, Sky Park. Location in Big Bear, California. Cost per day is $69 per adult. There's also a monthly pass, which is $35 per month, a minimum of 6 months, or a full year-round ride all-you-can pass for $349. So let's check out some stats for Sky Park. So a total of 21 trails at Sky Park, total of 4 green trails, 5 blue trails, 3 black trails, and 2 double black trails. And the trail characteristics of Sky Park, based on my personal experience, the green trails are flow and easy, as well as the blue trails. Black diamond trails at Sky Park have lots of features, small jumps to medium-sized jumps. Double black features in Sky Park include the jump line, where you have big jumps, steep drops, steep rolls. In Comet, there are wooden features that are like the North Shore skinnies. So the pros to riding at Sky Park: there's only 1 climb trail on Sky Park. At the end of that 1 climb trail is the beginning of every single trail you can find at Sky Park. Well, mainly every single trail. It's easy to navigate. It's an easy climb trail. Food and restrooms are easy accessible at Sky Park. So the cons: each trail are pretty short. Once you've been there a full day, these trails can become repetitive. A higher cost in general to ride at Sky Park because it is a park and you need to pay admission. So let's talk about battery life. I ride a 630, my wife rides a 504. By the time you want to drain your entire battery, whether it's a 504 or a 630 watt hour, you'll be completely burned, tired. You probably won't use all your battery, so there's not much battery anxiety when you ride Sky Park. So our second trail, not ranked in any order, is Velocity Bike Park, located in Temecula, California. By far my favorite trail system of this video. Cost of riding here is $5 per person on a weekday and $10 per person on the weekend. A little bit of trail stats for you guys. Total, there's 40 trails out in Velocity Bike Park. 20 blue trails, 11 black diamonds, and 4 double blacks. So let's discuss the trail characteristics. All the blue trails are very flowy, so are the green trails, and there's multiples of them. And when you start riding the black diamond trails, you're gonna meet some very chunky, very tech flow, especially on Matco. Once you get into the expert zones, and you're gonna start seeing very chunky, very steep, very loose terrain, and very, very challenging overall. So as far as the pros go, probably the best restroom, hands down, of any trail system out there. Sheer amount of trails out there for beginners, intermediate to expert, and a little pump track at the bottom for everybody to practice on. And when it's crowded, it actually is never crowded. The trails are so far spread out, you won't be crowded as you are like you get in Sky Park. So let's talk about the cons of Velocity Bike Park. The cons are, when you head into summertime, you have to start around 6:30 to 7. Otherwise, you're gonna be in the heat the entire day, and no one can really stand that amount of heat. Although there are tons of blue trails there, a lot of the blue trails are just very pedally, and it can become very repetitive. The last con of Velocity Bike Park is that the fire road, it is a very boring and long fire road up. Most of the trails are very spread out on the fire roads. For example, like Matco is all the way at the end of the fire road versus Tunnel of Love is at the very beginning of Fire Road. Unlike Sky Park, when you get to the end of the Fire Road, all the trails start. You may need someone to guide you on your first time. So as far as battery anxiety, you're gonna have a little bit of battery anxiety right here if you're with a big group of e-bikers and you guys are just shredding, just constantly going up and down, up and down. By the 3rd or 4th round, you probably already drained 70% of your battery. But just keep in mind, Velocity Bike Park trails are very, very long. That is one of the fun parts about Velocity Bike Park. So our third trail, San Clemente Single Tracks, is another eMTB legal trail. I believe YT does some of their testing there. All the trails there are eMTB Class 1 legal. Location is San Clemente, California. So for those who are in Orange County, this is probably one of the best places for you to ride your eMTB. The stats for San Clemente. Wow, total of 60 trails. That is quite a lot of trails here in San Clemente. I'm not sure if that is true or not. I haven't ridden all 60 before. I'm pretty sure there's a lot that I haven't done before. So let's go over it a little bit. There's 18 green trails, 17 blue trails, 18 black diamond trails, and 4 double black diamond trails. Wow. Let's go over the characteristics for San Clemente single track. Okay, you're gonna see a whole bunch of jump lines. You're gonna see a whole bunch of flow, drops, wooden features, tunnels. You have a lot of steep stuff. So, what are the pros to San Clemente single tracks? I would have to say, ever since the first time I went to San Clemente single tracks, they have been just constantly updating, building new tracks up there. So like every quarter, there's a new trail, a new jump trail, new hips, new wooden features. It is so much fun to get out there if you're in that intermediate and you're just learning how to jump and you're just learning how to do these wooden features. San Clemente is definitely one of those places. The jump trails at San Clemente, they're so well set up that it is like a perfect session loop. You could just continuously finish your jump line, ride back up so fast, and then just continue your jump session. One of the best things about San Clemente single tracks is that you get these really awesome, cool weather in midst of September when it's the hottest. So refreshing during the summertime to be out in some place where you still have some cool air. I would say one of the biggest cons of San Clemente is that once you go into winter season, the views become very bland. You only see that the back of that military base that's out there. You definitely need someone to take you on a tour when you're out there, because since there's so many trails to choose from, nothing is clearly marked that this is a blue trail or this is a green trail, and you might get lost because there's just trails everywhere. So you might need a guide. So let's talk a little bit about your battery situation. Depending on how you ride and depending on the guide, if you're finishing at the bottom of the trails and you want to climb back up and that's what you're doing all day, you're gonna drain your battery really, really fast. But if you're doing like from top to bottom and then you're messing around in the middle, you can mess around in the middle for a long time. If that's how you're spending it, I wouldn't really worry about too much about battery anxiety. I've finished at around 50% battery left. That's on a 630 as well as a 504 in my wife's bike. Last but not least, we're gonna go into San Diego and talk about Black Mountain, another eMTB legal trail. Most people probably do not know that. I didn't know when I ridden there the first time, but it is definitely eMTB Class 1 legal. So if you're thinking this thing applies to a Sur-Ron, none of the things that I'm talking about applies to a Sur-Ron. No throttles. So let's take a look at the stats for Black Mountain. Another whopping 65 trails here in Black Mountain. You have 30 green trails, 22 blue trails, 3 black diamond trails. Overall, I would think this is a perfect place for beginners all the way up to intermediate. And a little bit about the trail characteristics. If you stay in the green and the blue zones, it's very flowy, it's grand, it's big. But once you start moving into some of the intermediate and tougher trails like Lusardi or the Black Widow, you're talking about very chunky, rocky type of terrain, the stuff I love. But then there's also, once you pass the chunk, then you start moving into some technical chunks. And then you get a whole bunch of flow on those blue trails. So let's talk about some of the pros here at Black Mountain. The most obvious, it is free to ride. So many trails to choose from. I haven't ridden all of Black Mountain, but from the looks of the trail map, it's just beyond 30 green trails, 22 blue trails. That's just, how can you finish all of that? Some cons of Black Mountain trail system. Again, you would probably need a trail guide or a tour guide tow you around the first time you're there so you can get to know how to ride Black Mountain. To get to my favorite trail sections at Black Mountain, you actually have to climb a very long, boring fire road, and you probably have to do it more than once. If you plan to ride at Black Mountain on the weekends, you're gonna meet a tremendous amount of hikers. So bring that bell with you. It is also a battery drainer because you have to take that fire road up multiple times. A lot of the trails are spread out, so being on that fire road from one trail to get to the other trail, you have to kind of ride some distance. Be prepared when you get out there, stay on eco or trail mode and try to stay off boost. I hope you guys enjoyed today's top 4 where to ride your eMTB. If you found this video helpful or useful to plan your next eMTB adventure, please consider hitting that like and hitting that subscribe button. So with that, we'll see you guys on the next one. Peace.